Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Suitey, and welcome back to the second episode of the Purger podcast. I'm hosted here today by my friend Warp, and we have quite a bit to talk about.
Thanks for the amazing introduction, Sudi. How are you doing today?
Today I'm doing all right. I haven't been feeling great lately. I am just getting over a cold, but I'm on the mend right now, so my voice might be a little bit off.
Yeah, same here. I've been sick for the last week. Um, what have you been up to lately?
Lately, not too much. A lot of people have noticed my supposed absence from uploads, and really this whole lockdown thing and social isolation has been hard on a lot of people, myself included. I've been trying to chill, recover, get my mental health back in check, and I think I'm doing better. Actually, today I'm just starting to edit the biggest project that I've ever undergone, which is a history of botting video. And that's going to be huge once it's finished.
That sounds very interesting, and I'm so hyped to see the final product. In
Yeah.
case people didn't know, as most people know you as PitFall instead of Sudi, um, people don't know you had another channel named Sudi. Why did you abandon that channel?
Well, I started the Suitey channel back, like, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years ago, where I just wanted to make some YouTube videos on iMovie back when I was in 6th grade, and I did that. And back then, I was playing UHC and Skywars, and when the Pit came out, I started playing that, and I was one of the first people to make YouTube videos on that. And um, I saw some relative success. I was one of the biggest channels back then with a couple hundred subscribers. But eventually, I quit the Pit, and I wanted to make a new channel, but I didn't want to actually be playing because I couldn't really play. And a lot of people, if you watch my old videos, they're really low recording quality. So I didn't want to do that. But I really loved the editing aspect of it, the production, uploading a video, thumbnails, all that, and of course the community response. So I thought maybe I can make a community-based channel where people they can submit clips or they can help me with recordings, and then I'll upload all that, and it won't just be my channel, but actually anyone who wants to contribute. So we got that started, and I called it something. I wanted it to have Pit in the name as the community channel.
Mhm.
And the original idea was Pit Balls, and actually I made a banner for that, which is in my DMs with Major Event from way back in the day. But I decided to go with Pitfall because it just sounded cool.
Yeah. Your channel growth for that channel was insane after the release of your Major Event Exposed video, getting hundreds upon hundreds of subs in weeks. Do you see yourself growing more in the near future?
Um, I think it's possible because my most recent video, as of the time of doing this podcast, is also my most popular video, which is quite a surprise, considering that for its entire, pretty much since it's uploaded, it's been the best performing video ever, and I've gained quite a lot of subscribers from that. So I think there is quite a big potential for growth
Mm-hmm.
as the content that I'm working on now. I'm trying to make it so not only Pit players can understand it and can enjoy it, but also the larger Minecraft community.
So speaking about Major Event, after the gruesome beef between you two releasing videos on each other, how are you guys doing? Have you guys made up or?
Yeah, Major and I are actually friends now, and um, we kind of discussed everything that went down with the scamming situations, and the whole thing with that is it was really a group issue because the huntsmen as a whole, they're pretty toxic, especially now with with what they're up to lately. So Major actually has kind of distanced himself from that a little bit. He stopped playing the game as much for a while, and because of that, we kind of just talked a bit. And of course, he's been around in the pit just as long as I have, and has just as much interest in the history. So when I've been working on my pit history videos, he's been one of the ones who helps me with the research, and of course, he's got tons of footage going way back, screenshots as well. So in the History of Godpants video, quite a few of those clips that you saw were directly from Major Event, and ones which weren't public either.
You're a semi-big trader in the community. How do you feel about the current market of this game mode?
Right now, I don't think it's in the best place. I'm not exactly a top level economics person, but what it seems is that because of the state of the game mode, the top level items are valued really highly. The ones that are in demand are just going up, and that means that for a player who doesn't have as much, for them to be able to start buying and maybe reselling those items, it's going to be a lot harder. And because of the state of the game right now, the only real way to get some of these top level items, I'm talking about billionaire life steals,
Yeah.
sprint drain mega longbows, all these types of things that the leaderboard players, pretty much the owners of the mid lobbies, that they're using, those items are impossible or close to impossible to deliberately create. So enchanting is all RNG, and you need to have hidden jewels to make some of these other ones because double gemming got patched. So it's really, I don't think it's in the best place.
Yeah, I agree with you. All these scams and rats have been happening, like the Master Center rat that happened a few days ago. What advice can you give people to prevent themselves from losing all the valuable mystics and items?
Well, really, with scamming on the internet especially, you have to undergo every interaction you have with the underlying presumption that the other person may be trying to take advantage of you. So this can have to do with taking your items, or even just they may be trying to manipulate you otherwise. There's a lot of predators on the internet that we have to watch out for, and there have been a few in this community, as well as actually exposed by Warp several months back. So really, you can't trust anyone. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be a loner, you have to be a complete outsider, but it just means that if someone sends you a file, even if you think you can trust them, try get that checked as much as possible. Go to multiple sources, and even then, have a be cautious with it, because really, if something happens, you were the one that you're the one who has responsibility for your own account and your own items. So this has to do with rats, this has to do with lending items. If you lend stuff, always take compensation. I learned that the hard way. And yeah, it's just be careful.
In this game mode, there have been many interesting stories that have been made. Suitey, what is your origin story in Pit? How did you start out?
I started out playing Minecraft way back in the day, just survival, and then eventually I moved on to multiplayer. I played Hypixel first. I got into Skywars, then Hypixel UHC, and around November of 2017. So this is about 5 months before the pit came out. I got into ranked Skywars, and I was attracted to that game mode because I wasn't the best at PvP, and I'm still not, but I liked ranked Skywars because it had a lot of game sense to it. Because if you understood the game, for the most part back then you could do well. And I actually managed to get multiple diamond divisions in succession. And a few months later, the pit would be released. And I started out, I think, in the very first week. I don't remember exactly when I first started playing, but I got into it because a Ranked Skywars YouTuber named Cerny actually uploaded a video on a strategy in the pit. And I watched that, I tried it out, and then boom, I was in the pit. And I like the pit because it has some similar qualities to what I liked about Ranked Skywars. That being, if you understand the game, if you're consistent, and if you know what's going on, then you can do well. And that's exactly what I did. And of course, I grew to love the community because the game is small enough that everyone can know almost everybody
Oh my
to a
god.
certain extent.
You have been involved in numerous dupes in the past. Do you feel any guilt in exploiting these dupes?
Not at all. This game mode has been time and time again. It's actually become kind of a meme on my channel. I say the pit is the oldest anarchy game mode on Hypixel, and that's because the pit has quite a lot of similarities to the anarchy server of 2B2T. That being really, the pit has had a lack of staff attention since the beginning. There's been tons and tons of dupes. There's been tons and tons of other exploits. And of course, there's been hackers, there's been botters, and all this. And really nothing has been done. So when all these people are doing whatever they can to get to the next level, I thought, why not do the same? There's really nothing wrong with it. If in the history of Pit only 2 people have ever been banned for duping, then why shouldn't the rest of us get involved in that?
You are a former member of Conclave, group designed to help the admins improve the game mode. You were kicked out. Could you please explain what happened?
Yeah, so I was kicked out a little over a month ago, I believe. And I woke up and I checked my phone and I saw that Conclave wasn't on my server list. So I DM'd a few people and I asked if the server was down because sometimes that can happen with Discord. And my fellow Conclave members said, no, it wasn't. Therefore, meaning I had been kicked. Now, I asked, I believe I asked Tak about it and he didn't say anything. And it only, I only found out why I was kicked a few weeks later when Major asked me if I was still in Conclave, in which I told him I wasn't, and he said that he had had a conversation with Tak9, and Tak had said that he'd gotten annoyed with me for some reason because he didn't like, I think, one of the suggestions I was making or something, and then just kicked me out. But it wasn't for something that I had been doing wrong. It wasn't because I had broken any server rules or anything. And there's plenty of stuff to pin me on. I've got quite a history of exploiting and destroying this game mode. But no, it was just really for no reason at all.
Explaining these dupes, what was the most interesting dupe or exploit that you've been part of?
The most interesting... That's a tough question because there's been so many. I don't know about the most interesting, but I would say the most fun that I've had is the period of June to August of 2018. So basically that whole summer when I joined and continued duping with a dupe group that started out duping bounties and prot armor, and then with the advent of the Mystic update, we played the game for a while and then continued to dupe as much as we could because there were several Mystic dupes that we found, and that whole era was just really fun. Players such as Automized, Major Event, Tak9, MC Panda, we were all a part of that. And yeah, I don't know about interesting or intriguing exploits, though.
I asked my Discord Purger community, link down in the description, for some questions to ask you. Someone asks, Suitey, when will you surpass Lego Maestro as the best news channel in Hypixel?
I would say I already have.
All
To
right.
be, to be, to answer that seriously, I wouldn't say PitFall is a news channel, mostly because what I upload isn't really news, especially given the frequency of my uploads. And if it's a topic of the Pit community, it's usually a broader overview rather than something more like CNN or New York Times.
Mm-hmm. What would you do if you were in charge of Pit? What would you change?
Right now, the Pit has to be changed to benefit new players. The Pit is gonna continue to dwindle, and I believe it may eventually die if new players can't get into the game and aren't enjoying their stay here. Because if new people don't stay, then there's no nons, and then the streakers, there's too many streakers, which has been a problem for a while. So
Mm-hmm.
a change has to be made to bring in new players and to keep them. Now, this could be something to level the power gap between the top level players and literally everyone else, but that type of thing is quite complicated, and there's a reason that it hasn't been implemented already because it's a big problem, and really, if there's an easy solution, then the game would probably already have it implemented. On top of that, this game needs, and Hypixel in general, it really needs more moderation. So
Yeah.
just today, Elfie decided to dark hop on his account to get it banned, so he'd have a reason to quit the game forever. And he said he was going for 2 hours on a Prestige 20 account, completely dark hopping, which is insane because in that time, which is actually pretty fast to get banned these days, he could have killed upwards 50, 100 people even, ruined their games and cleared every lobby of streakers. So that type of thing, it happens all the time, especially when there's 2, 3, 5 dark hoppers on at any given moment. So that type of thing, it has to be moderated.
How would you go to the moderation process?
I think Hypixel needs to accept more helper applications and then have a efficient more efficient method of weeding out those helpers. Because right now, there's a mod wave. Maybe 20 mods get promoted every 6 months or something. But given the size of the server at hitting upwards of 100,000 online players at any given weekend, or any of that moderation team is minuscule in comparison with the player base. So just the game needs to have more mods and a better proportion of mods to the player base. But obviously, with great power comes the ability to exploit that. So Hypixel it needs to weed out the good people who really want to help, and then also be prepared to take action and actually promote those people.
What do you think about the corruption in the staff team in Hypixel? We've seen this in the past with mods like C4 from Pit Gang.
Um, for corruption, I think it's really interesting because, well, I haven't actually seen it firsthand in my personal account. I don't have any mod friends, and the people I know who do, they keep their connections really tight unless something has to go down. Someone needs to get an a false ban overturned.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Prince Link was falsely banned or unfairly banned quite recently in the past couple of months, which I made a video covering, and that's when the only people who can moderate the mods are admins, and they're off doing their own things. I think it's a problem, but I don't know if it's a huge problem for the
Mhm.
server right now.
Why did she leave me?
Um, you were clingy, and I thought I could do better.
All right, Suitey, when is the next video coming out?
My next video, which I'm working on actually right now, is a history of botting, full documentary. And I have the voiceover recorded and edited. Right now um I need to add the visuals and the background music and then make it all fit cleanly together, which
Hmm.
I'm just getting started on. So I'm hoping that'll be finished and released within the next week. But I'm not sure because this thing is going to end up being close to half an hour long, so it's big.
Can't wait. Hey, Suitey, how do you keep motivation to play the pit? Also, is it wrong to see you as the fit MC of the oldest Anarchy game mode on Hypixel?
Actually, I don't play the pit. I uh I was joking the other day where I DM'd Salt asking for a Dawn truce because in my application I said I don't leave spawn, which is true because right now this game mode I have a couple of reasons for not playing it. Firstly, it's in really bad shape unless you have the top gear and you're friends with all the dark hoppers, then you can't really have a good time.
Hmm.
On top of that, my computer is really bad, and recently when I've tried to play, I get constant lag, frame drops, and it's not a fun time even when I did have the gear. So on top of that, I stick around for the community, and I don't need to play the game to be a part of that because all of that takes place on either YouTube or Discord. And since I'm not the one recording the footage that's in my videos, then other people can do that. And I only really need to have my editing software. I need to have Discord and YouTube, and other than that, I don't need to play.
Yeah. How did you get your IGN, Suitey?
Back in the day, I had a really cringy IGN, and it wasn't one that I came up with. It's actually my parents who did that. And I wanted, when I started playing Ranked Skywars, I realized that if people underestimate you, then you have a better chance of winning. So what I did is I changed my IGN from what it was to Tomato Player 2008, just a big meme IGN. But after a month of that, I wanted something cool, something semi OG. So I came up with the idea of Sweet, the name like a hotel. But when I checked on name and see, I saw it was taken, so I decided to go with Sweetie or Suitey. So that's how I chose my name.
It's an interesting story. Who did you look up to when you first started playing the pit?
When I first started playing, there was of course all the big players like Babs, who was #1 for quite a while, and he uploaded several videos, which are still around. But I became close friends with this guy who is quite a few prestiges above me, named Dog V2, and we started playing together a lot and streaking together. He was actually the person who I streaked with the first time I ever used a full god set, that being full diamond set and sharpness 1. So he's the reason that I progressed as quickly as I did because together we learned the game and abused as much as we could. And I know I'm Just a Fish also had similar experience with that same guy.
Mhm. Hey, Suitey, will you marry me? Someone asks.
Uh, DM me, maybe we can discuss.
Suitey, what is your favorite flavor of chip?
I like nacho cheese Doritos.
Mm. On a scale to 1 to crack, how fast can you throw a car?
At least 5, but I'm not sure about that.
Interesting. So, Suitey, can you give a full explanation on what happened to your account in 2018 when it was hacked or banned or whatever that made you disappear?
Yeah, so back in the day, back in December of 2018, my parents actually they wanted me to stop playing Minecraft and focus on school rather than waste time playing video games. So I couldn't play, but I wanted to stick around with the community because, like I've said, it's really chill and a good place to hang out. So what I did is I wanted my goal had always been to reach Prestige 25, get pink brackets.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave my account to several different people who boosted it. The first one being Only Skeleton, um, who stole everything after a while. That story is covered in my video about Night Loot. And then I gave it to Salt, and later Major Event, who bought it on it, with my permission, of course, which is covered in my botting video, Up and Coming. So from that, it got banned for a year, and I um I was planning to sell it, but of course it wouldn't have any value at that point, so I just decided to stop playing after that for about 8 or 9 months.
Do you ever want to return to Pit? If so, how would you?
I may want to, but really that would depend on me. Um, the main issue I have right now is actually my hardware because it's difficult to play Pit with really bad FPS and all that. So if I got a better computer somehow, then I would probably return. But if not, I'm probably just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
If PitFall hit 30K subs and you had the option to get the YouTube rank, would you take it? As it would mean no more IRL trading.
I think I would. The YouTube rank is something that not a lot of people have the opportunity of getting or abusing. And IRL trading, I mean, you can get away with a lot of things in this game. Hypixel isn't exactly the most, they're not the most, not sure what the right word is. Well, if you know about
Diligent?
PitFall, well, yeah, they're not the most diligent with the illegal activities that some YouTubers are up to. And if you know about PitFall and Skyblock, not the backpack dupe, but something that happened several months before that, then you'll know what I'm talking about, where YouTubers can kind of get away with things that other people can't.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I hit 30,000 subscribers, then I'd take it. And maybe I would change because at that point, really, what is there to abuse?
All right. How do you go about making your videos?
First, I have to come up with an idea. Usually that's a topic of interest in the community. If some big drama goes down, someone gets scammed or ratted, then a lot of people will come to me saying like, yo, Master Diets just got ratted. You want to talk about that? And from there, I'll decide what I want to talk about. Or I've also gotten into these history videos and I've got quite a backlog of potential ideas, which some old players and new have recommended, things that they want to see covered and things that the newer players might want to learn. So once I have my idea, I try to talk with as many people as I can about what might be covered in that. So I'll make a bullet point list of all the main ideas of the video. And from that, once I've verified with a few people that I'm not missing anything, then I'll start writing a script. And my scripts are pretty much exactly what you hear in the videos, almost word for word. So those things take quite a while to make. On average, those scripts are about 3,500 words. This most recent video, or the upcoming video, is 4,300 words, my longest ever. So a lot of people saying I'm literally writing essays for these, which it's kind of true, but but since I'm really passionate about the game and about these things, once I have a good grasp of what's going on, then writing isn't the biggest issue. So after that, I'll read through the script a few times, verify with people there's no mistakes. I'll read it out loud. I'll read it out loud once or twice to see if I can spot some mistakes or change things with the fluency of how I speak. And then from there, I'll sit down and I'll record it. From that, I'll have to touch up the voiceover by editing out the pauses and the stutters and any mistakes that I make. And from there, I'll add visuals, maybe streaking footage, maybe some other type of B-roll, and then individually go through each section, add music to the mood, and then add visuals as I talk about it. So you might notice if I bring up a specific word, maybe a player or something, then I'll go and grab their profile picture from PitPanda and put that in. So I do that. And of course, I would much rather use footage if possible. So if I have something relevant, maybe some footage that someone took way back in the day that's historical, I'll add that wherever possible. But other than that, that's pretty much how I make the video. Oh yeah, one last thing to note. My thumbnails are made by my good friend Creechun, who has done almost all of the graphics on the PitFall channel. So we did that. He helps me out a lot with that, and of course those look really cool. And once I have everything like that organized, put together, then I'll spend maybe 3-6 hours trying to get it to upload because my upload speed is really slow. Stop on the thumbnail, set the premiere time to be a few hours after that, and then just wait and see what people think.
All right. One final question. How do you believe that the community, which we all know is a toxic place, can get better?
That's a difficult question. Right now, I think it needs to start from within the game. Because if the toxic people, the scammers and the hackers and all that, if they can't stick around the game, then they'll have no reason to stick around the community. But that also means that Hypixel would need to take actions that they can't or won't take. That being the banning of scammers and hackers on a scale much more than they've got right now, and just stuff like that. Clean up the player base, but that's unrealistic right now, so I'm not really sure what can be done.
All right. Thank you, Suitey, for coming to episode 2 of the Purger podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Link will be down in the description. And join Purger Community Discord. Link will also be down in the description. And Suitey, we usually have the interviewee do an outro, so...
All right. If you guys are excited for a history documentary for botting, then make sure to subscribe to PitFall. Subscribe to Warp for more podcasts like this one. I'm hoping that that he can interview some cool guys in the future. And if you like this, drop a like. Comment down what you want to see. Maybe part 2 if we want to do this in the future. Questions we could ask, things to discuss, anything like that. And yeah, just I'll see you guys around.